and welcome to Transcendental Transformation, the place where spirituality and transformation unite. Host Miss Raina imparts truth so that you can break through your limiting beliefs and evolve into a deeper consciousness. As you go about your day, remember, before every breakthrough, there is a breakdown. And now, let's start the show.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to tonight's episode of Transcendental Transformation. I'm your host, Miss Raina, and today is Tuesday, October 30th, 2018. As always, we are coming live from the Soul Sage Studios here in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and I hope everyone is doing well. Well, tomorrow is Samhain, so blessed Samhain, everyone. I hope everyone is going to have a wonderful Samhain. You know, what are you guys going to dress up as? You know, I'm excited because this year I'm going to go over to my friend's house like I did last year, and we are going to dress up and put all the decorations around the house, and then I'm gonna pop out of like all this mist and everything and scare the kids like I did last year. And how exciting is that, right? Exciting. Yeah, I love scaring kids. That's so me, right? And yeah, that is. And so let me know what you guys are doing, because last year I know you guys wrote me, well, every year you guys write me and let me know what's going on, and you know, I love the pictures that you guys send me and everything. And yeah, keep them coming, because that way I know what's going on with you guys. But I want to tell you, yes, because I know a lot of you guys have been watching my social media and asking me and stuff. And yes, all the shipment of the CBD oil is completely in, both pharmaceutical and the non-pharmaceutical grade. I know you guys like the Tranquillium brand, which is the non-pharmaceutical grade, but the pharmaceutical grade is awesome as well. And yes, the gummies are in, the kratom is in, the websites are going up, the Facebook page is up. And, you know, I have been working like a dog, not just for the radio show, but for, you know, this business and other things. And yes, today it's actually relaxing to do the show right now. But yeah, go check it out. Serenity Naturals with a Z, not an S at the end, and on Facebook. And I'll let you guys know when we get the Facebook up. Other than that, guys, we are not going to accept call-ins tonight because we have a guest, obviously. No Facebook Live because I have not figured out, you know, since we switched from W4CY over there to back here at the studios over here, I have not figured out on Spreaker how to get the audio to play for certain things for like Facebook Live and everything. I don't even know if that's possible. So no Periscope, no Facebook Live, but I am recording right now on YouTube and all sorts of good stuff. So I will have the audio and everything mashed up for our YouTube channel, and you can find us at youtube.com/Transcendental Transformation. So, all right, let's get into tonight's show because we got a whole packed full of information. But first, I want to tell you guys that that tonight is rated mature because of the topic, and I just want to throw out a few little trigger words that people, because I know sometimes there's sensitivity to certain things, and who knows where this conversation is going to go. It's going to be a fun conversation. I'm excited, but I always put out the mature rating when a topic comes up like this, just because you never know how people get, but you guys are tough. So yeah, so tonight we have a very special guest, and you know, I'm excited because I first met her through a friend of mine, actually, and you guys know her because she was a former guest on the show, Michelle Elva, and you know, she recommended, she's like, you know what, I have this amazing person that I need you to know, and you know, maybe you want to have her on your TV show. And I did have her on my TV show, and actually it went so well, and I had so much fun interviewing her that you know, I decided to have her back. I said, you know what, I want to do a topic. I saw her posting on her social media, and I was like, you know what, I think it's time to do something on, you know, on Tantra and sexual energy and healing and all sorts of stuff. And she's going to tell you all about that because she's the professional. I'm not in this case. But for those of you who aren't familiar, our guest tonight is an advanced certified Tantra educator and a sacred sexual coach. She is the co-creator of the Ecstatic Dakini Tantra Practitioner certification program. She specializes in helping individuals and couples actualize their divine, ecstatic, sexual, and spiritual potential. She's passionate about bringing more love into the world by teaching helping singles and couples to integrate their sexuality with their heart and their consciousness. So please help me welcome my guest, Lourdes Starshower.
Hi.
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm great, thank you. And you?
I'm doing wonderful. So, I'm so glad to have you on today. And actually, I can see you. We're Skyping right now through this, and so I get to see my guests for once instead of just hearing. So, how are you? You look wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm doing quite well, and I'm honored to be here. Excited for what's about to take place.
All right, thank you. So let's get into it right away because I want to know about you. So for people who don't know about you, can you give them a little explanation about who you are and what you do?
Yeah, so I'm a Tantra healer and Tantra educator, coach, and counselor, and also an ordained minister and sex, yes.
Ah.
and, sacred sex. And I also, as you said, I teach practitioners in Florida on a beach, in a beachfront, beautiful home. And so I work with people of all persuasions, of all kinds, who have all different kinds of reasons for coming to me. I teach beginners, and I also help people heal.
All right.
Anything that's happened in their past.
All right, so Lourdes, I did not hear any of this. For some reason, we're having Skype problems, and I can't. You're completely frozen. So, I don't know what's going on. I just, as soon as you started talking, everything went kaput.
Oops.
Okay, so let's see if we got you back. Okay, I killed the video and stuff. So can you? Yeah, so kill your video and.
I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try to go someplace with a better connection.
Oh, okay. Well, we're live right now, so it's probably a good idea.
All right, let me just try in here.
Okay.
I can hear you, but you're frozen.
Yeah. No, I had to kill the audio because as soon as you started telling me about who you are and everything like that, I didn't hear a word. I just started freezing up, and that's why I usually don't do the video with the clients or the guests because it sometimes freezes up. But so I know that you said that you do Tantra and everything like that, and you're this certified Tantra educator. So obviously I'm a novice to this, and so for a lot of people listening, I mean, we always have this stereotypical idea that Tantra is just about sex. Is that true?
It is about sex, and it's about so much more than sex. It's about how to connect your sexuality to your heart and your spirituality and your consciousness. It's about how to run sexual energy within your own body for higher level solo pleasure, as well as personal transformation. And it's about how to run more energy and love and pleasure between yourself and a partner for higher levels of intimacy and pleasure, ecstasy, and higher connection between you and your partner directly to the cosmic awareness and to the divine.
So let me ask you this really quick, because a lot of people are hearing that, and maybe people don't understand what you're talking about, because they're like, okay, well, if I'm having sex with my partner, am I not connected with them? Am I not into it? Because I mean, as two people are having sex, making love, whatever you want to call it, I mean, you would seem like they're in some way, shape connected.
That's a really good question. So I can be connected to my partner, and we can be doing this sort of dance of in and out. And so our genitals are connected, but our hearts are not really connected. I could be thinking about tomorrow or yesterday, My partner could be thinking about what they're going to do next to please me. I could be thinking about what I'm going to do next to please them. And we're totally in beta consciousness. Beta consciousness is that state of consciousness where you are moving in the world and you're making decisions and you're thinking and you're not feeling and you're not fully present. So tantric presence is between alpha and theta consciousness. It's a state of awareness where everything is flowing, where mind and body and spirit and heart and soul are flowing, where the connection flows between the two people. You can actually feel your hearts expanding and energy moving through your hearts. You can feel your genitals expanding and energy moving through your genitals. And you can feel the energy moving up through your body or through each other's bodies. So you can start to feel what's called toroidal energy fields. And toroidal energy fields means that there are figure eights and infinity symbols circling all around and through and between yourself and a partner, creating outrageous ecstasy. So your hands are tingling, your feet are tingling, your whole body is tingling, and you might be having waves or shaking with energy or even waves of energy and pleasure. It's on another dimension. Tantra is 5-dimensional sex as opposed to 3-dimensional sex.
So
it's beyond 5 senses.
Let me ask you this then, because I mean, all that, like, as someone who's in the fetish lifestyle and who's a professional dom, I always talk about this place called subspace, and people are like, "What are you talking about?" And I say, "Well, there's more to our bodies and sex than just the actual doing it, And they're like, and they look at me funny, and I love the fact that you said we a lot of times connect through our genitals, and we don't connect through our bodies or our hearts because we don't. It's like wham bam, thank you, man. Let's get it over with and let's call it a day, because that's become our society. We've become so detached from everything around us that even it falls into our bedroom. And I think that a lot of people, that if they start expressing themselves in this way, I mean, I know a lot of people probably have no clue what we're talking about when we go into beta, theta, alpha waves and that, but I think that if they start becoming aware, at least of what's going on in that moment, I think that's a good place to start.
Being really present. So if I am being touched on my face, or even if I'm self-pleasuring and I'm touching my face, I am so present in every second, in every millisecond of that touch, that even just a gentle caress on the face can be amazingly ecstatic. And so wherever you're touching on the body, whether you're touching the throat or the neck or the hands even, or the chest or the genitals, you're touching with such deep presence that time slows down and everything is pleasure.
So you're trying. So I mean, a lot of people like a lot of people will probably think, oh, well, is it similar to the meditation? Like, I got to be present. What does that mean? Because you tell people, be in the now, be present, and they're like, okay, well, yeah, and they really kind of blow it off because they don't really have an understanding. So is it like, if we're trying to get people to understand what the present or the now is it more so far like as focusing the mind, focusing the feeling, or what are they focusing?
Focusing on love, focusing on pleasure, focusing on giving and receiving pleasure, focusing on every sensation in the giving and the receiving. And like meditation, if thoughts start to come in, you just let them float through you like a cloud. You don't attach to them, grab onto them, and you also don't push them away and fight them, because that takes you out of this zone of tantric presence. You are essentially being similar to meditation, but it's a very active meditation, because you are actually deeply involved in what's happening in your physical body, and you're also feeling the energetic effect of that connection. So you're in tune with and aware of the sensation of the other person's heart meeting your heart, the other person's soul meeting your soul, and the other person's genitals meeting your genitals on a really deep level, not just a superficial level.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's great hearing giving and receiving, but a lot of us don't know how to receive, or like a lot of us are givers, especially in the spiritual community. We give, and to actually have the art of receiving. So this actually takes requirement on both ends, and so I can see where you're saying a lot of times where it's more than just sex, because it seems like Tantra is very involved in the soul's process of a journey to expansion.
Absolutely. Tantra is a really powerful path to transformation for several reasons. For one thing, we are opening our awareness of our lower chakras, and we are inviting our lower chakras to connect to our heart and our consciousness. We're inviting ourselves to really embrace all of us, every single part of us. We're also using breath practices that bring the energy from the lower chakras, where some of our old emotions, our fears, our guilt, our shame, our shadows are locked. And we're breathing that up into our heart and into our consciousness, thereby transforming the energy in our lower centers and supporting our transformation. We're supporting the awakening of our Kundalini energy, which is the sexual spiritual energy that provides transformation, spiritual awakening, a deeper bringing forth of synchronicities, and a higher level connection to your guidance and your internal guidance system, and your ability to continue to have drawn towards you the people and the circumstances that are going to support your continued transformation. So Kundalini awakening is a really powerful spiritual experience, and it's something that with Tantra we support the awakening of.
So does this actually have transformation in all areas of our life? I mean, because obviously when we're working on self, we're growing. I mean, obviously for us people who are in the spiritual community, we understand that one effect, trickles into the next. And so and does this really awaken people? I mean, it's great. A lot of times people will get into it. Oh, it's sex. So we want to go, we're trying to be more intimate with our partners, and we get into it for that reason. But there's a lot more benefits to it outside of it, correct?
Yeah, so let's talk about just one piece. So your will center is your solar plexus chakra, and below your belly button. And your will center is where you get your ability to bring your gifts into the world, your ability to set your boundaries, to say yes, hell yes, to what you mean yes to, and absolutely no to what you mean no to, as well as to support the ability for you to move your gifts into the world in a dynamic way that's prosperous. And so when you awaken your second chakra, which is your sexual chakra, also your creative and emotional chakra, by the way, so just awakening as an aside, awakening your sexual chakra awakens creativity and emotional well-being, and then moves up into your belly to support your personal empowerment. This is the reason why religions and governments try to squelch our sexuality and our real expression of pleasure and sexual ecstasy, because we become more powerful. So as whether you're a woman or a man, you become much more powerful in the world when your belly chakra is awakened. And that's just one. When your heart is awakened, of course, you develop a higher level ability to give and receive love, to have empathy, to move through the world in a way that supports others and never hurts anyone. And we support the transformation of the planet, because the more we awaken our heart, the more that our effect is profoundly felt in the hearts and the lives of everyone around us. So we are, in essence, through Tantra, supporting the evolution of the planet and everyone around us. And I could go on and on because each chakra has an awakening benefit and a real gift to offer us in the world. And Tantra awakens all of the chakras as we connect from our base to our crown.
Wow, that's absolutely fascinating. And we're going to get right back to that in a moment after these messages from the life of Raina.
A message from the life of Raina. We live in a world faced with many tough challenges. Our lives become chaotic and filled with disaster ever so quickly, most of the time before we even realize. Our issues beat down our mental mindset, and an imbalance of emotions become prevalent. The life of Raina is dedicated to helping people on the deepest spiritual level. Miss Raina, the creator of Transcendental Development and Growth, works on your core issues and finds the solutions which allow you to break free from the emotional bondages of life, helping you achieve the life you've always wanted to live. Isn't it time that you lived life for you? Call the Life of Raina, 561-846-2190, and schedule your appointment today. That's 561-846-2190. Or email thelifeofraina@icloud.com.
All right, everyone, we are back. If you're just joining us, we have special guest Lourdes Starshower, who is a certified Tantra educator and a sacred sexual coach. And right before the break, we were talking about the abilities of boundaries. And I'm so glad that she brought that up, because don't we talk about boundaries all the time on this show? And the ability to say yes or no. And I thought that, Lourdes, I actually thought that was amazing that you said, that these little, focusing on Tantra and opening, these different chakras and energy centers of the body allow us to change our perception and change the way we look at life and even go through life. The ability to say yes or no is so huge in our world. And, so many of us, we say no to the things that are healthy for us and yes to the things that are toxic for us. And, or a lot of times we don't say anything at all because we're frozen and we don't have the confidence and the self-esteem. And this sounds like it really builds your self-esteem, not only in the bedroom, but in the outside world as well.
Absolutely. And we have really all of the abilities above the second chakra. So the abilities that I was just talking about, your ability to bring your gifts into the world, to really move forward from a place of a strong will, the ability to speak your truth and really articulate well, the ability to have your pineal gland, your third eye, your sixth chakra, connect to the unified field, the quantum field where all intelligence lies and where we have access to absolute brilliance if we can just tap into it beyond ordinary reality and beyond ordinary consciousness. And the ability, of course, to connect directly to the divine and receive downloads of information, sacred geometry, and this is what inventors have been doing. People who are really brilliant and have brought amazing discoveries onto the planet way ahead of their time. They were tapping into that quantum field of intelligence, the unified field. And one of the best and funnest ways to expand our sixth chakra, our third eye, as well as our crown, and our eighth chakra, which is above our head and actually brings in this information, is to do Tantra breath practices where we bring our sexual energy all the way up through our body and we open and awaken our abilities through these higher centers. So brilliance, financial abundance,
Well, you cut out there again at the beginning. I think it's the video, so I just had to cut the video. But the quantum intelligence that you're talking about is very true, because a lot of people don't believe me when I say, I meditate and there's a certain field that I tap into that allows me, because I've never read a spiritual book. I don't take classes, that all the information that I know is through channel. And people look at me funny and they're like, really? They're like, you've never taken a class? You've never done? And I say, no, I don't need to, because the information's out there. And being open enough in any area, whether it's sex, the bedroom, and in your personal life or anything, allows us to connect to ourselves and connect to that information, thus bringing more confidence and more stability in it. So I got a question for you, because I know a lot of people are listening to this and saying, okay, well, that's great that Tantra's, great for, if you have a partner, but what about people that are single?
Yeah, I work with a lot of singles, and some of the things that you can do as a single person are, well, number one, you can do everything that I just talked about in your own self-pleasuring. If you use breaths to transmute the breath, so you can access all of those amazing abilities that we just spoke of in your higher centers. And also, you can increase your self-worth, and that is your belief about your self-worth, because the only thing that affects your self-worth is your belief about your self-worth, your self-confidence, your self-love. And how do we draw in a higher level partner? The best way to draw in a higher level partner is to become a higher level partner, to use tantric practices when you do your self-love, your masturbation. I like to call it self-pleasuring or self-love, because for many people, they heard the word masturbation when they were young and it had a negative connotation, and some people aren't doing it because of that, or they're doing it quickly and getting it over with and getting off. And in my viewpoint, whether we're self-pleasuring or whether we're the partner, rather than getting off, we're getting on. We're plugging in to the 7.5, I believe it is, megahertz of the planet. We're plugging into the energy of Mother Gaia. We're plugging into the energy of the sky and the heavens and the quantum field and all of nature. And we are turning ourselves on into a higher level partner. And so when we meet somebody, our body already knows how it wants to be made love to. We already know how being loved feels, and we already know what we will and what we won't accept. So we're less likely to say yes to a partner that isn't going to be so good for us. We're less likely to kiss any frogs and just go right to meeting the king or the queen that we want to meet. And they're going to see us in a much higher light, because we're not drawn to people physically. We are a little bit drawn to people physically, but we're really drawn to people energetically, vibrationally. Whatever their magnetic field is and their electromagnetic field, that's what we see, that's what we sense, that's what we feel, and that's what we're drawn into, their aliveness and how high their energy and their vibration is. And so, of course, we raise our vibration through tantric practices. We keep ourselves happy and sexually satisfied on our own. We're connecting to divine source and to our own heart when we make love. So we're having really high level orgasms. We don't necessarily need a partner. And when we meet one, we're not needy. And we're coming from a place of really high level readiness to bring somebody in who can be a soulmate and who can maintain a relationship with us.
Wow.
Not just,
That is so important for you to say, because we are a society that is desperate for filling our insecurities, and on all levels. We chase, we're like a dog chasing a car, and we don't know why we're chasing it. And a lot of us, we go into these relationships, and we need to be in a relationship because we think it's going to bring us value. And then when we have it, we miss all the red flags, and we usually pick the people that usually bring the most chaos to us. And because of all these ideas of, and I like that you said the word masturbation, because a lot of people shy away from that. Oh my God, masturbation. And, I even say that around my friends sometimes just because I know that they're going to turn red. And I'm like, why are you guys so embarrassed of this word? It's perfectly normal. Actually, it's very healthy for you. And, and I'm not even, and just even in medicine alone, we discuss that, in Oriental medicine, everything, we talk about how the yin and the yang and how the body needs to be in balance and everything. And we had classes on this, and people just get so turned off by our society because they tell you, no, that's wrong. You shouldn't do that, And I think that your message of trying to tell people, that it's okay. It's, it's part of life, and it brings you to that point of acceptance. I think that's very a strong message.
Yeah, it sure is.
So, okay, so we have singles and stuff like that. And, also, what about divorce? Because I know a lot of people say, well, there's a high level of divorce rate and everything like that. And, and a lot of times it may stem from, not being sexually satisfied. So what are your thoughts about that?
Well, let me sit with that statement. A lot of times divorce stems from not being sexually satisfied. I have a belief, and that is, and it's a belief that comes from working with many, many couples over the years and supporting them in coming back to love and coming back to passion and back to ecstasy. And that belief is that we build walls. And one person gets hurt, and it might be something very subtle, but it hurts them, and they pull back a little bit, and they build a little brick on their wall. And then the other person sees them pulling back, and they pull back, and they build a little brick on their wall. And pretty soon they're starting to blame each other, they're starting to criticize, they're starting to make the other person wrong in order for them to feel okay about themselves. And pretty soon they've each got a fortress. Nobody wants to have sex when there is a wall between them, when they don't feel loved, they don't feel cared for, they don't feel sexy, and they don't feel sexually attracted to their partner. And so, sexual dissatisfaction can absolutely lead to divorce. But what leads to sexual satisfaction? When a couple meets and they have amazing chemistry and through the roof sex, and they're tearing their clothes off, and they can't wait to get into bed with each other in the beginning, and then a year or 5 years or 10 years later, there's no chemistry anymore, and it's no fun anymore. It's not just that chemistry died, it's that the connection between the two partners died. And if you can keep communication alive, if you can keep compassion alive, if you can support each other when your wounds show up from your childhood, instead of blaming each other for acting out when you're triggered, then you can come to a place of becoming evolutionary allies. And an evolutionary ally is a relationship that supports both people in their growth. So you take whatever's showing up between us and you throw it up on the wall for both of us to look at, and how can we support each other? How can I support you in whatever's showing up for you, and how can you support me in whatever's showing up for me, so that instead of ever criticizing, blaming, making the other person wrong, we're always supporting, holding the other person up, and supporting their healing, and creating alchemy. Because if you keep tantric practices in the relationship, it never gets boring, it never dies, and our libido never drops, because we keep exploring higher and higher levels of heart connection, heart intimacy, frontiers of cosmic connection, new frontiers of ecstatic bliss, connecting out into the cosmos. And some people start to see colors, they start to see visions, they have these explosive experiences that are so beyond ordinary reality that it can't possibly get boring.
You know, one of the things that you said was that, you know, couple people build walls, and obviously, you know that, you know, I've helped people for many years with the program that I created, and you know, and one thing that I always saw is I very rarely ever saw couples because I like the whole one-on-one thing, but that was always a thing. It was always the walls coming in from either their past experiences, from childhood, or from, you know, or from even the relationship itself, and they blamed each other. It was like it was almost like two little kids fighting for a crayon all the time, and oh no, that's my crayon, no, you know, you broke it, and it was like, and you know, a lot of times we get caught up in our emotions because we're looking for this sense of satisfaction, and a lot of times I think that's what ends up happening, and we find these relationships that we think are going to satisfy us, and yeah, for temporarily they may satisfy us, they may, you know, give us what we want, but eventually that's the false ideas of those relationships aren't going to satisfy us in those directions anymore, and unless we work at it, like as you said, through communication and support each other, you know. But I think a lot of times people just expect the relationship to be all hunky-dory all the time, and you know, it's not going to be work. It's almost like that Snow White fantasy where, you know, we're going to meet the perfect person, live happily ever after with the white picket fence, and that's the way it's going to be.
Yeah, and the funny thing about relationships, according to Harville Hendricks and Helen LaKelly Hunt, who wrote my favorite type of therapy, which is imagotherapy, we meet a mate who we are attracted to because they remind us of the ways in which our primary caretakers loved us, and that makes us fall in love with them. And they also remind us of the ways in which our primary caretakers hurt us, or didn't, or weren't available for us, or abandoned us, or didn't give us enough love, or treated us not so well in certain ways. And so we have these interlocking behavior patterns of people meeting each other with interlocking wounds. And of course, if we don't understand this and we don't support the healing of the other person, we are going to think, well, that person was a jerk, or that person was a bitch, or that person is really not emotionally mature enough to be in relationship with me, or whatever it is that we think. In reality, it's because we don't understand the true nature of partnership and the fact that we are brought together with somebody whose primary purpose in your life is to push your buttons, bring up your wounds from your past, while at the same time giving you more love and more attention and more positive strokes than maybe another person has in the past. And so the two things are happening hand in hand. And if you can support the healing of the wounding, then you have a partnership that can continue to thrive. Now, yes, there are partnerships that are doomed and they're just not really the right match. And if we go into relationships too quickly sexually, we don't really see the red flags because the oxytocin takes over and the bonding hormone, and we start to fall in love with somebody just because we had sex with them, and they might not be a good match for us at all. So both of those things can happen.
I love that you just said that, because so many people, I actually have a couple of people that are in my life right now that have gone just through that. It was all hot and heavy. They didn't, you know, the hormones were racing, the oxytocin, it was just, you know, it was fireworks. And then as soon as the fireworks ended, it was out just as fast, and they were like, what happened? And you become jaded, you become bitter. It's almost like, you know, and I tell people, well, you know, sometimes we need to take a step back, slow things down, and take a look at, you know, what's really going on, rather than just acting out on these emotions to fill a need. And you know, I like the fact that you said the interlocking wounds, because we attract, a lot of times we track and we seek out subconsciously and energetically those people that are going to tell us, well, see, we're not good enough, we're inadequate in some way, or whatever, those things that have hurt us, as long as we keep carrying the victim part around us. So, you what, like, say, like, if a couple gets here and they say, well, Lourdes, what can you, like, is there things specifically that you can help certain couples with? Is there an area, or is it just like a broad area with couples?
I work with couples, whatever their situation is. So some couples come to me on one extreme that are blissfully in love, communication is working well, they're ecstatic together, and they want to take the relationship to the highest level of tantric ecstasy, and they also want to learn partnership skills so that they don't mess this one up. And on the other extreme are couples who are on the verge of divorce for whatever reason, and one of them has brought the other one in to see if I can support them in salvaging their relationship. So I am an intimacy coach, an emotional relationship coach, as well as a sacred sexuality coach, and I work on both levels and everything in between, whether they want a better emotional relationship, better communication, more love, more emotional intimacy, wanting to support both of their needs getting met, or they are having an amazing relationship and they want to have beyond ecstasy and bedroom sex that is going to keep them coming back and back and back to each other time and time again, more frequently maybe even than they've ever had before, because when sex is really, really great, libidos go up.
Absolutely, and who doesn't love delicious sex? All right, everybody, we're gonna take a break, and we'll be right back after these messages from the life of Raina.
A message from the life of Raina. We live in a world faced with many tough challenges. Our lives become chaotic and filled with disaster ever so quickly, most of the time before we even realize. Our issues beat down our mental mindset, and an imbalance of emotions become prevalent. The life of Raina is dedicated to helping people on the deepest spiritual level. Miss Raina, the creator of Transcendental Development and Growth, works on your core issues and finds the solutions which allow you to break free from the emotional bondages of life, helping you achieve the life you've always wanted to live. Isn't it time that you lived life for you? Call the Life of Raina, 561-846-2190, and schedule your appointment today. That's 561-846-2190. Or email thelifeofraina@icloud.com.
Okay, we are back, and Lourdes, one of the things that I know a lot of people are probably asking is, what is like? I know you do a lot of private sessions, and what are those like?
The private session depends on what it is that the person comes in with, because my sessions are individualized. So first of all, I find out what is going really well, what is not going well, and what their vision is for the session. A session might include clairvoyant energy healing, which is a combination of a Reiki master that I have had for many, many years, combined with tantric energy healing and some Barbara Brennan healing science training, as well as getting a lot of it, as you get yours, through direct guidance and support. And it's a really high level of energy healing and clearing. And nobody ever walks away from that session saying that they did not get results or did not feel anything. The other thing that I do is hypnotherapy. And hypnotic regression is my specialty. And that is to heal anything from people's past that gets in the way of their high-level functioning, their high-level sexuality, their higher-level life, whatever is in the way. I also do erotic, energetic empowerment and awakening, and I do yoni massage for women, which means awakening pleasure, expanding ability to have orgasm, or awakening ability to have orgasm, awakening whatever type of orgasm she's not already having, including awakening G-spot orgasm, cervical orgasm, and amrita, which is female ejaculate. And for men, I support them in learning how to have whole body orgasms, learning how to have multiple whole body orgasms without ejaculating, and then choosing when to ejaculate, or any issues that they have, erectile dysfunction, premature ejaculation, And so any issues either men or women have, I help with those. And I also work with couples, as I said, on whatever issues they have. And so the session is going to look like whatever presents. I see the client, I meet them in full presence, and I see where the session needs to go based on where they are in the moment and what's happened in the past and what their vision is for their future.
What if somebody that doesn't believe in a lot of this stuff, say like somebody comes to you, or have you ever had couples that one of them is dragging the other into the session and they don't really believe in energy healing and all the kundalini and all that stuff?
I'm really good at being able to support both parts of the partnership in really feeling welcomed, understood, seen, and heard, and being able to communicate at their level so that we can be on the same page. And I am primarily a scientist. I was a scientist and a mathematician. That was my primary strength until I moved into the world of esoteric knowledge. And so I can speak to left brain people really easily. And I can also speak to right brain people really easily. So either way, I can support them with palpable understanding. And palpable means you can feel it. So for instance, I teach energy by having people feel the energy between their hands and then feel the energy between themselves and their partner. It's not about faith. It's not about belief. When you start to feel it, it's real and you can't deny it. And because of all the beautiful love practices that I do with couples and the beautiful touch practices that I do, it's really not about faith. It's about supporting them and really coming out of themselves and feeling safe and connecting. If there's a big wall built because somebody really hurt somebody else or they both really hurt each other, then I do some really beautiful forgiveness practices with them to support them in releasing the past, because you really can't go to high-level ecstasy and high-level sex if you're holding a resentment or a grudge or a deep wound from something that your partner did. And so, when you drag somebody into my office and you've hurt them really badly, or they've hurt you really badly, it's my job to support you in healing those hurts and really feeling understood and really feeling safe so that you can come into this place of deep love and deep presence together. And, I want to tell you about one guy who came to me. This was years ago. He had an erectile issue, it was premature ejaculation, I believe. And he had never heard of a chakra. He didn't know a light being from a light bulb. He really knew absolutely nothing. He's what I call a muggle, completely non-magical person. But he came to me because he had an issue, and he saw online that I could help him with that issue. And after he went home and tried his homework, because I taught him breath practices, I taught him how to move his energy up through his whole body to support prolonging his ejaculation and being able to have a whole body orgasm and then choose when to ejaculate. And so he texted me the next morning that, wow, he flopped around like a fish. So his orgasm was like so wild and crazy.
That is pretty wild.
That was. So, do I care whether he knows anything about chakras? No, he's having a spiritual experience and also the highest level ecstasy he's ever had.
Wow, that sounds amazing.
Great.
Yeah, I think we all want to flop around like fishes every single orgasm we have. And, I think that's the important thing to take away from a lot of this is, having that open mind. Even a lot of times we have our belief systems, and our belief systems is the creation to all of our chaos in our life. And we get so stuck in those ideas of society or other people teaching us what we think is the correct way or what we think is truth. And a lot of it is further from it. But I love the fact that this guy, even though he wasn't, familiar with it or even didn't really believe in it, still came to you and said, you know what, I see what you do. I see the ability that you have. And, having the presence of open mind to just say, hey, let's give it a shot. Worst case scenario, I'm right back where I'm at.
Yeah.
So one more thing, because we got about 5 minutes left. So I know that you have this program and you have a certification program, and like can you talk about that a little bit for a few minutes and stuff? Like if someone wants to get training, like do they have to go through all this private sessions first and then go into this program, or can they just jump right into the program?
Well, they can come to me for private training, first of all. I train men and women privately in my office and can certify them. And we create our own program together for people who can't get to one of my retreats. And I also do week-long retreats in Stuart, Florida, just north of Palm Beach County, on the beach in a villa. And those retreats are for women only. And women who are complete and total beginners probably do want to have some private sessions with me in order to come there. But women who are energy healers, excuse me, I think I'm going to sneeze. Sorry. Women who are energy healers or massage therapists or counselors or light healers of any kind can come right into the training and fit right in. But somebody who doesn't know anything about energy or anything about Tantra or anything about breath practices, of course, yogis also could come right in. But people who don't know anything about any of those practices, it would be best if they have some private sessions with me to get a foundation set down before they come to one of these really high-level, very beautiful private retreats where we have anywhere from 14 to 16 women. It's a very intimate setting. We have delicious gourmet, vegan plus eggs, food, and we have an amazing chef. And we have a beautiful time, and a lot of healing takes place, a lot of transformation takes place, in addition to learning really beautiful set of skills and a really beautiful career.
Well, I think that it's important, especially when it comes to healing, not to just jump into things, because a lot of times we want to do that and we really don't know what we're getting ourselves into, or we may not even know if it really bonds with our energy. And I think that it would be smart if you like the show and you like Lourdes and you like the topic and you say, hey, well, maybe this is for me. I think it would be fabulous for you to get a private session with her first for a couple times and see, if this is something that you want to do. I know we're on Skype and we've been having some problems with it lately, and we're going to fix those bugs, but you also do Tantra over Skype, right?
I do. I use Zoom. I have more luck with Zoom. It's easier to get in because I can get a link and send that link to my client, but I do long distance video sessions. And I can do hypnosis, I can do energy clearing, I can do counseling and coaching and training. There are a lot of things that I can do. I can't do a yoni massage yet on a Zoom session, but everything else I can do pretty much on a Zoom session.
Yeah, I got to agree with you. I like Zoom. I know we're using Skype right now, so I hope Skype doesn't beat us up. But yes, I'm a big fan of Zoom as well. So Lourdes, tell people how they can get a hold of you.
My business name is Tantra Healer Florida. So my website is tantrahealerflorida.com. And I am on Facebook as Tantra Healer Florida, Lourdes Starshower. And my phone number is 561-843-1261.
All right, sounds perfect. All right, thank you so much, Lourdes, for being a guest. Honestly, I got to be honest with you. I learned so much because as I know we've done the TV interview before, and both of them. I honestly, like many people, I honestly don't know that much about Tantra, and so thank you so much for being my guest on the show and educating me on this wonderful art.
Thank you, my pleasure. Thank you for having me. Namaste.
All right. Okay, everybody. That is tonight's show. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you want to follow us on our Facebook, follow us at facebook.com/Transcendental Transformation. And don't forget to check out our YouTube. Also visit my website, soulandspiritguide.com. Make sure you sign up for the newsletter to receive special VIP access to hidden shows and special guest offers. Email us with any questions that you have for me at Transcendental Transformations, that's plural, at gmail.com. Don't forget to check out my new business at Facebook at Serenity Naturals with a Z. And always remember to believe in yourself, and it's not our abilities or our talents that make us who we are, but it is our choices. Thank you and have a wonderful evening.